Ask yourself, did you hear about this medical claim on social media? Red flag, 99% or more. If there was a number higher than 100, I would pick that number. Of the things that are popular on social media, it's because that they're interesting, not necessarily because they are true. Hey there, I'm Dr. Vlad. I'm a board certified general pediatrician specializing in autism for children. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're sitting in a waiting room with your child next to you, scrolling your phone while they play, or listening to this as you fold laundry after bedtime, thank you. Thank you for caring enough to want to be informed. You're doing an incredible job, even if it doesn't always feel that way. I want to talk to you about something that might not sound exciting at first, but it could genuinely change how you make decisions about your child's health. It's something I talk about all the time in the exam room, especially in the age where so much information, both good and bad, is right there at our fingertips. Let's talk about how to tell the difference between real medical information and things that are misleading, manipulative, or even harmful. So let's face it, being a parent today means being flooded with advice. Some of it's helpful, some of it's scary, and some of it is just nonsense that's wearing a lab coat. So how do you know what to trust? Let's start with something very simple. Consider the source. When you come across a medical claim, the very first thing I want you to do is pause, take a deep breath, and ask, where is this information coming from? Is it from a true professional who gives you sources for their information based on good scientific data? Does that person sell supplements? Red flag. No. Is the information coming from a reputable, well-known, and established website, such that end in things such as .gov or .edu, which come from universities? These tend to be more reliable because they're tied to institutions that are held accountable by research ethics, by funding oversight, and by public trust, even though they're not 100% of the time going to be accurate. Nothing really is. You just want to be able to steer yourself to more accurate sources of information versus less accurate sources of information. Ask yourself, did you hear about this medical claim on social media? Red flag, 99% or more. If there was a number higher than 100, I would pick that number. Of the things that are popular on social media, it's because that they're interesting, not necessarily because they are true. That's how social media is designed to work. TikTok accounts, your Instagram accounts, your Facebook accounts, all of that goody. It's the attention economy, and your attention is the product that is being sold. Now, you compare that to a blog post or a video that starts with the title, "Doctors don't want you to know this secret." Red flag. Huge red flag. Trustworthy medicine is not about secrets. If someone is claiming they found something that no one else is talking about, especially when it comes to a product link or a discount code, pause. That's marketing. That's not medicine. And speaking of marketing, let me tell you a little secret. Real science is real boring. Really. It's slow. It's methodical. It involves a lot of people in lab coats carefully repeating experiments, double-checking data, and trying to prove themselves wrong before they believe they're right. So if something you're reading makes you feel a rush, like fear or urgency or excitement, that's your cue to stop and take a breath. Because the goal of good marketing is to make you feel something fast. And the goal of good science is to make you think about something slowly and carefully and pique your attention like, I'll look more further into that. Now, let's say that you're reading about a supplement, a diet, a treatment, whatever it is, and it's surrounded by testimonials. It worked for my son. My daughter started speaking the day after we tried it. These stories are powerful. They're emotional. And I get why they're so compelling. Because as parents, we would do anything to help our kids. But here's the truth. One story does not equal scientific evidence. Tons of stories don't equal scientific evidence. The plural of story or anecdote is not data. I'm not trying to say that these families are lying. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that the human body, especially a developing and growing child, is extra complex and complicated. Sometimes kids improve because they were going to improve anyway. Sometimes it's a placebo effect, which is far more powerful than most people realize. And sometimes it just happens. A single story cannot tell you whether something works or not. When you see hundreds of testimonials and no scientific studies, that doesn't mean it's stronger evidence. That's just better advertising and marketing. Instead, we need to look at the gold standard of science. And the gold standard for proving the effectiveness of a treatment is a placebo-controlled, double-blind, randomized control trial, preferably repeated by another group and published in a peer-reviewed journal. That's a mouthful, I know. Let's break it down slowly. Placebo control means that they compare two groups of people. So they compare a real treatment to a fake version of it, also known as a placebo. So we know if the benefit is coming from the treatment itself or just believing that the treatment works, the placebo effect. And the placebo effect, in every single research trial, people improve on placebo, believe it or not. It's just how much they improve could be the same as the treatment, or it could be less than the treatment, in which case we say the treatment has higher response than the placebo. Double blinding means that neither the patient nor the doctor knows who got the real thing. And this is extremely important because it prevents bias, because even doctors can unintentionally influence the results if they believe that someone is receiving a treatment or not. Randomized means assignments to the treatment or placebo groups are random. You cannot cherry pick. That the two groups have to be as similar as possible before doing the treatment. That way, there's not going to be a false representation of the effects of the treatment or the placebo. And repetition of the studies means we don't just rely on one randomized study. It needs to work again and again in different places with different researchers. That gives us more confidence that what we're seeing is actually a reflection of what happens in real life, as opposed to a reflection of just what happened in one research study. Because there's a difference between the two. And of course, peer review means other experts in the field have looked at this research paper, read it over, and made sure that the methods and the conclusions make sense. So there's a gatekeeping that's involved, which allow good quality research to be published and poor quality with a lot of flaws to need to be revamped to be made more accurate. Now, why does all that matter? Because real science is not interested in tricking you. Real science challenges people. Prove me wrong. Prove me right. It wants to be proven. It's slow because it's trying to be sure. Scientists are constantly trying to prove another scientist wrong by doing more research and experimentation. And when something is truly effective, guess what? It gets published, it gets shared, it gets recommended by lots of doctors, and not just one on Instagram. Let's talk about emotional triggers, because they're often the bait that pulls us into misinformation. If you see a claim that says doctors don't care, Big Pharma is hiding the cure, that's designed to provoke outrage in the depths of your heart and soul. It's manipulating your fear and your love for your child. And that's not how we communicate in real medicine. In fact, most of us went into this profession because we care deeply. There is no grand conspiracy. It's a lot of dedicated, tired people trying to do their best for your kids, one appointment at a time. So when you feel your heart race or your stomach turn or your chest tighten from reading something online, Just pause and take a breath and ask, why is this making me feel this way? Is it because it's true? Or because something is written to push my buttons and to gaslight me into feeling more upset about something? And one more thing. Beware of the following phrase. Miracle cure. Real medicine never uses that word. Miracle is what people say when they want to skip the science and go straight into selling you something. In medicine, we don't call things miracles. We call them treatments, and we evaluate them over time with data. And if someone's pitching you a miracle, be skeptical, always. Now let's pivot to one more important concept. Every treatment has both benefits and risks. Even something as seemingly harmless as a vitamin or a supplement can have side effects, interactions, or consequences. That's why we always have to weigh the potential harms and the potential benefits at the same time. And this is one of the hardest parts of parenting because there are few perfect choices. Sometimes we have to decide between two imperfect options. But we can't do that well unless we're being honest about both the upsides and the downsides. So if someone is offering a solution that sounds 100% positive, no risk, only benefit, that's a sign you're not getting the full picture. Doctors will talk to you about both, especially if they're awesome doctors. If a treatment can help your child sleep better, but it might cause drowsiness during the day, we tell you that. If a medication lowers anxiety but can cause weight gain, we'll tell you that. It's part of earning your trust. Now, am I saying that mainstream medicine has all the answers out there in the world? Absolutely not. We're learning more every day. Science is always evolving. What I am saying is that we're committed to doing that learning in a way that's ethical, transparent, and careful. That's something that no miracle pill, no viral video can offer you. So let's recap. Here's your key takeaways when you're evaluating medical information. You check the source. You ask what's in it for them. Are they profiting off of your fear or uncertainty? Beware of testimonials. Real science is slow, boring, and methodical, and that's a good thing. You look for the gold standard with any kind of claim, double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trials that are replicated and peer-reviewed. And you balance benefits and risk, and every choice has both. Be wary of anyone who says otherwise. And then pause before reacting emotionally. And keep this in mind. Miracle cure is a scam alert. Real medicine doesn't use those words. I know it's overwhelming. You're already carrying so much. And the last thing you need is to feel like you need a degree in epidemiology just to protect your child. That's why I'm here. That's why your child's healthcare team is here. We're your partners. Not just for checkups, but in choices. So the next time you come across something that seems too good to be true or too scary to ignore, I want you to do one thing. Bring it to us. Ask. Send us a link. Show us the ad. Let's look at it together. It's not a bother. It's part of what we're here for. Reach out and speak to your primary care team. And it helps to keep the conversation grounded in what really matters, your child's well-being. Thank you for spending this time with me. I know it wasn't flashy or exciting, but that's kind of the point. Because when it comes to your child's health, we don't really need flash. We need facts. For parents in New York State, navigate autism with confidence. Call our office and empower your child's development with proven strategies and compassionate care.